It was the full-frontal nude scene that had audiences gasping, critics debating, and Nastassja Kinski regretting. But Cat People, 1982, was more than just a scandalous moment of nudity. It was an erotic horror film that pushed boundaries in ways Hollywood rarely dared at the time. Directed by Paul Schrader, known for Taxi Driver and American Gigolo, this remake of the 1942 classic took the original psychological horror and infused it with sensuality, gore, and an unrelenting dreamlike atmosphere. And while the movie itself had its share of controversy, nothing compared to the drama behind the scenes. From an on-set affair that ended in icy betrayal, to an entire day of filming lost to a drug-fueled haze, this is the story of Cat People, a film as fascinating as it was flawed. The plot follows Irina Gallier, played by Nastassja Kinski, a young woman who travels to New Orleans to reunite with her estranged brother Paul, played by Malcolm McDowell. It quickly becomes clear that their family has a dark and supernatural legacy. They are werecats, humans who transform into Black Panthers when they engage in sexual intercourse, only able to revert to human form by killing. Paul embraces their feline curse, urging Irina to mate with him to avoid transforming with humans and murdering them. Horrified, Irina resists and instead develops a relationship with Oliver, a zoologist played by John Hurd. But as passion grows, so does the threat of her transformation, leading to a disturbing and unforgettable climax. Schrader approached the film with the intention of blending horror and eroticism, a departure from the original's restrained, shadow-driven terror. The result was a movie that critics found divisive but undeniably hypnotic. Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars, calling it a fantasy horror film that takes itself just seriously enough to work. Others, however, found the film excessive, arguing that its heavy use of nudity and violence overshadowed its story. Variety praised Kinski's performance, stating that she was endlessly watchable, while Leonard Maltin criticized the film as sexy, bloody, technically well-crafted, but ultimately unsatisfying. Casting played a crucial role in shaping the film's unique atmosphere. Kinski, fresh off Tess and touted as the next Ingrid Bergman, was the obvious choice for Irina. Her ethereal beauty and European mystique made her a compelling lead, but her experience making the film was anything but positive. She later expressed regret over the film, feeling that Schrader has relied too much on gore and nudity at the expense of storytelling. McDowell, who initially hesitated to take the role, was ultimately convinced by Schrader's vision of an erotic horror film. His performance as Paul, oozing menace and dark charm, remains one of the most memorable aspects of the film. Annette O'Toole, who played Alice, had a different perspective on the film's nudity. Unlike Kinski, she had no regrets about her nude scenes, viewing them as just another part of her character. In contrast, Lynn Lowry, who played the doomed prostitute Ruthie, had a much rougher experience. She was required to perform a stunt in nothing but underwear, repeatedly falling down the stairs without any protective padding. After 17 takes, her bra popped open as directed, leading her to later remark that it seemed like the director wanted a topless shot of every woman in the film. She wasn't wrong. Except for Ruby Dee, every major female character in Cat People had a topless scene. But nothing was as scandalous as Schrader's affair with Kinski. According to reports, Schrader fell deeply in love with his lead actress, planning to propose to her at the film's wrap party. But Kinski didn't show up. When Schrader finally tracked her down in Paris, she allegedly delivered the infamous line, "Paul, I always fuck my directors. And with you, it was difficult." Kinski, however, later refuted this account, but the story remains one of the most infamous behind-the-scenes moments in Hollywood history. The production itself was fraught with difficulties. The use of real big cats presented numerous challenges, particularly since leopards were impossible to train. The filmmakers had to resort to dyeing cougars black to achieve the look they wanted. McDowell's cat-like movements, such as his eerie leap onto the bed, were achieved by having him jump backward off the bed and then reversing the footage. Paul, meanwhile, was dealing with his own problems. By his own admission, he spent at least one day so high on cocaine that he refused to leave his trailer, resulting in a full day of lost shooting. The special effects and cinematography also played a crucial role in bringing the film's eerie atmosphere to life. John Bailey, the cinematographer, meticulously recreated key scenes from the original Cat People, including the famous swimming pool sequence. Bailey admitted that they didn't try to improve upon the original's visuals, but instead paid homage to them. Meanwhile, the transformation effects, where wercats burst out of human skin, were a grotesque highlight, created through practical effects rather than CGI. If there's one aspect of Cat People that has stood the test of time, it's the music. Giorgio Moroder, the legendary composer behind Scarface and Flashdance, created a mesmerizing score that perfectly complemented the film's hypnotic visuals. But the real standout was the theme song, Cat People Putting Out Fire, written and performed by David Bowie. The song took on a life of its own, later being used in Inglourious Bastards to unforgettable effect. Bowie originally wanted to use the film version for his Let's Dance album, but due to rights issues, he had to re-record it. Upon its release, Cat People had a lukewarm reception at the box office, grossing $21 million against a $12.5 million budget. Though it wasn't a financial disaster, it wasn't the hit Universal had hoped for. Over the years, however, the film has developed a cult following, appreciated for its audacious storytelling, striking cinematography, and provocative themes. Some critics have argued that it paved the way for more erotic horror films, influencing movies like The Hunger, 1983, and Species, 1995. Paul later admitted that he regretted titling the movie Cat People, as it inevitably drew comparisons to the original. But in many ways, Schrader's version stands as its own creation, a surreal, moody exploration of sexuality, repression, and the monstrous nature of desire. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think of Cat People? Was it a misunderstood work of art, or did it take its erotic elements too far? And what do you make of the behind-the-scenes drama? Let us know in the comments.